Our second speaker will be Professor Tali Hatuka, the head of laboratory for contemporary urban design in the Tel Aviv University. Tali, please come.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Do you hear me? So I want to look at these issues of innovation and technology from the other end, and for whoever wants to implement something in Israel, I think that the report that I'm going to briefly present is of importance. We just completed last year a report that engaged with the race of different cities for digitization in Israel. And this is an interesting report because it's a collaborative work that include also member faculty, Professor Michael Bienhak from the law faculty, myself, I'm an urban planner, and Eran Toch, who is an engineer focused on technology. And I think that what's important for us was actually to understand what's going on in cities. So we keep innovating. And for me as a policymaker and a planner, I wanted to know what happens at the end. What should we do, how, why? And we wanted to understand the implementation process, the barriers and the challenges and the various strategies and perceptions, not only of the local government, but also of the central government and the private sector. You were talking before about the collaboration. There is a name for this. It's called Triple Helix. This is for you, Danny. Triple Helix is a framework for the public sector, the private sector, and the academy. There is massive amount of literature about this. So anyhow, we wanted to explore this. And we also had a normative goal. We understood that actually policymakers and mayors and sometimes ministers do not know much about these topics. So how do they take a decision regarding this topic? How do they invest huge amount of money of public funding about these kind of innovations? And so for us, there was a normative also goal here to teach them a little bit, to explore the different fields. And at the end, actually, we spread this report all over the country. And this is the good news, they're working with this. So what we did was actually mapping everything they are doing. We also ask for, by the way, how much they fund, how much they spend on this. This is something that it was hard to get and we didn't get it. So we don't know how much they spend on all these issues, but this is just a partial list. We looked and interviewed 20 different cities in Israel that actually in this process. And we asked them different questions about the tools available, how do actually they engage with the cyber-related aspect of the smart city and so on. We were very much focused about the vulnerability and cyber attacks and so forth. Methodologically, we actually interviewed people from, as I said, public sector, private sectors, and private companies. I have to say, everyone were collaborating quite enthusiastically. Actually, the private companies have an interest to collaborate and to market themselves. And also we understood, and also we interviewed and did really big questionnaire of 500 people in Tel Aviv, because we were also interested how the public is reacting to this, who is using all these great innovations. So just briefly, the report, 5 minutes is fine. So 5 chapters, one is very much focusing on planning. The point is, most of the planning of the municipalities in Israel do not have at all a strategic plan. They don't know exactly what they are going to implement, how and why, also in Tel Aviv. Regarding technical and infrastructure cyber threats, this is a very important, again, conclusion that we came up with. There is not yet a very strong culture of information security in all levels of the organization. This is something that we need to build up. In terms of privacy, regulation is very much behind, but also in general. So I'm saying this for all these great innovation, when they need to get to the ground, there are so many barriers, and many of the municipalities are hesitant in implementing this. Fourth, social inclusion. What we found in the report, and again, it's also based on different tools that we use, the rich are getting richer. They have the access to digitization. In Israel, most of the people have access, right? It's not the physical access, but how we use it and for what. And again, at the end, we actually offer them integrative framework that actually look at all these 4 dimensions together: planning, technology, privacy, and society, and how not just to focus on the innovation, how to implement it, but how to integrate everything together. So for me, this is very, very important. I just want to add a few things from published scientific papers that we did, and maybe I don't have the time to review them all, but for example, one of the things that we've done in terms of looking at the participants or the residents is to understand what type of user, who are actually the people that use digitization. And you can look at this table and you can maybe find yourself. We identify 4 key profiles: the active user, the watchful user, non-user, conscious non-user. So nowadays, it's not that we have a technology and everyone are using it, but we have like different profiles of users. The active user is using everything, not caring about technology. Watchful user is a little bit hesitant about technology and privacy. Non-user is actually detached from it. And conscious non-user is something that we are seeing even much more now after COVID-19, people that are consciously not using these innovative technologies. So a lot of studies using GIS and microdata actually looking at how all this innovation being implemented in Tel Aviv, being used by whom and who benefit from that, and actually how the municipality, should the municipality should further invest in that. There is no doubt that mobility is a strong, important issue, but there are so many other issues that are in question. And one of the last papers that was just recently published was From Smart Cities to Smart Social Urbanism. And just last 1 more minute. So you can see this slide full of innovation, lots of projects being implemented in the city, but who again gains from it, how people actually decide what to invest in one project and not in the other. And what we recommend at the report, but also in our published work, is to think about a structured decision-making, thinking into consideration the urban contextual sensitivity, and think about the urban societal needs. I think right now there is a huge gap between ideas, technology, innovation, and what happens in the ground. And this is maybe why we face these traffic jams every day. With all these technologies and with all these advancements, there are lots of major issues that needs to be tackled from bottom up and not just from top down from the research and the government. Thank you very much.